called critical reading. Again, this does not mean to criticize the reading and to say bad things about it. It means that you need to read and be very careful about what you're reading, about the facts, about the ideas that are expressed, about the opinion of the speaker. You choose an idea for yourself when you are writing the essay and use your own viewpoint. Now we are going to analyze someone else's viewpoint. 70 minutes total on the critical reading section. There will be 2 sections that are 25 minutes long and 1 that is 20 minutes. There will be 2 breaks in between. There are 67 total questions in the reading section. Let's take a look. There are 19 questions that will be sentence completion. We'll take a look at examples of these later on. 8 of them will be reading comprehension, about short paragraphs. 40 of them will be reading comprehension, about longer passages, 500 to 800 words long. In the next lesson, and the lessons after, we will continue to study more about the critical reading section. There will be one more section on the SAT exam called the variable section. The reason that these are included is for the producers of the exam to try things out. The scores on these questions will not count on your exam, but you will not know which sections are variable, and so you must try to answer all of the sections as completely as you can. Is that good? Any questions about this? Thank you. Let's try to answer the question of why there is a new SAT. First of all, the American test, the SAT, has been around for a long time. When I was in school, when I was a boy, a long time ago, I had to take the SAT. Thank you. Thank you for the response and for the feedback. When I was a boy in school, I took the SAT exam, and approximately, in 2005, they decided to change the exam. They added a writing section. The analogies were cut. An analogy. This is like this, as this is to something else. These were very difficult questions, and now these you don't have to worry about. That's a good thing. However, tougher math was added, and again, this may work to the advantage of many Chinese students, since you have good math skills, hopefully, to take the exam. The entire test now is 2,400 points possible. When I was a student, there were only a possible 1,600 points. Why did the College Board, the name of the company that makes the SAT, why did they change the SAT? The idea was that they could make the SAT more like the curriculum in high schools. In order to test what students in high school had learned, they wanted to make the SAT questions more like ones that you would receive in an American high school. Also, they wanted to add the writing skills to the exam to help colleges make better admissions decisions. Lastly, they wanted to reinforce writing in education. This is the current exam. There is a great deal of emphasis on writing skills. We are going to see at the end of this lesson that a new SAT is going to be introduced in 2016. In 2 years, there will be a new test, and that test will de-emphasize writing skills. In other words, the makers of the examination are trying to find out what will be the best way to test college students' ability to go to college. The following 5 tips are from the College Board, the company that makes the SAT exam. Let's take a quick look at their ideas about what we can try to do. They suggest work on the sentence completion first, because these may take you less time than it will take to answer the reading passage-based questions. Is that true? If you have to answer a question about a completion of a sentence, it can take you a minute. If you have to answer the question about a long reading passage, it can take a long time. The suggestion from the College Board: work on the sentence completion questions first. Remember, all questions are worth the same number of points, regardless of the type or difficulty. Every question is worth the same amount. So try to answer the sentence completion first, and that will leave you more time to read the passage-based questions. That's the first tip. The second tip: read carefully. The information that you need to answer the questions is always in the passage. You must take the time to find it. Reading carefully is important if you're going to find the correct answer. Don't be distracted by an answer. Distracted. Let's see, distracted means that for some reason now you cannot pay attention. Oh, my friend walked in the room and talked to me and distracted me. Don't be distracted by an answer that may look correct, but is not supported by the text in the passage. Let's take a minute here and remind ourselves of who the SAT exam is for. You are Chinese students who would like to go to college in America or somewhere in Canada or Europe. But remember that 95% of the people who take the test are from America. They are native English speakers. And so, the only way that the test examiners can find out who is really good and who is only a little good in English is to make the questions very difficult and tricky. Tricky, because everyone in America reads English, and so to test their English skills, they need to be very tricky. The best way to avoid being tricked is to read carefully. For example, look for key phrases and key words. Passage 1, Example, yet once you knew how they worked, movies, unlike the stage, left the mind's grasp of reality intact, since the happenings were not in the theater where you sat. Movies, unlike the stage, not in the theater. This is the clues to the attitude and the information that the writer is providing, and you must try to find the information that is written in the passage. The third tip: questions and reading passages is a good advice here. Do not jump from passage to passage. Stay with your passage until you have answered as many questions as you can before proceeding to the next passage. What does this mean? It means read all of the whole passage from beginning to end, and then try to answer all of the questions about the first passage before going on to the next. Don't do some questions from passage 1, some from passage 2, and some from passage 3, or you will find out that you get very confused. Good advice from the College Board. Making smart choices. Again, everyone in America, thank you. Everyone in America speaks English, so the questions are made to be tricky. Are you stuck on a word? Are you not sure of what it means? Well, let's try figuring out what we do know about the words. This is very important. If you don't know what a word is, look at the root, the main part of the word, force. Look at the prefix, the part that comes at the beginning, and look at the suffixes, the part that comes at the end. This can help you to decide what the word means, even if you don't know the word. Let's read the example. Hoping to blank the dispute. A dispute is a disagreement. The negotiators proposed, they suggested, a compromise, a halfway agreement, that they felt would be blank to both labor, that means the workers, and management. Hoping to blank the dispute, negotiators proposed a compromise that they felt would be blank to both labor and management. Let's take a look. Divisive. That sounds like divide. They felt would be divisive to divide both labor and management. That's not something a negotiator wants to do, to divide people. So we can cross this right out. The idea when you're doing multiple choice questions is always try to eliminate the bad choices right away so you can make your choice from the best 3. And then that won't be guessing anymore. That will be what we call an educated guess. Hoping to conflict the dispute. Well, conflict means to make more of a problem, and negotiators don't want to do that. Hoping to enforce the dispute, to make a dispute get stronger. That's not something negotiators want to do. We crossed out all of these at the beginning. Hoping to diplomacy the dispute. Well, diplomacy is a noun. And what we need here is a verb. We only have one choice in this case, and this is a real easy question.